Hi there, I'm rigged 220 feet above the ground, hanging in front of a neon clock. My day job is to make sure that it lights up. We were just outside, now we're inside. This is the Oakland Tribune Tower. It's the beating heart of the city of Oakland, downtown area, and we're entering my office, which is on the 22nd floor above the clocks. So I've always had a day job because that way I don't have to mix money and my creative life. What I really do, I think what I've been able to add to in my own small way to the world is the idea of collaborating with people to create your own realities. I've been able to do that because of the people who taught me how to do it, other people I've worked with, and the connections that you make with people when you're taking risks together, when you're doing stuff you're not supposed to do, when you're, and you're like really pushing it, and you're doing stuff that scares you sometimes. That's the real deal for me. And the collaborative work, when you get that, gets you so close with other people in a real sense. Some of the stuff that I've worked on that people might be familiar with would be like the Burning Man Festival, Cacophony Society, the Suicide Club, Urban Exploration, stuff like that. And I put together a show recently, tried to put as much of that stuff in the show as I could with the collaborative work that I've done with other people and some of my own photography and whatnot. And then there's the dogs. Whoa. So we're driving down Broadway from my office studio to the gallery, Pro Arts Gallery, where I've got a 43-year retrospective show that I was talked into doing by the curator there. Anyway, it's a bunch of stuff from my entire life, collaborations with many, many people, and some photography and other neon pieces that I've made over the years, and we're going to check that out. We're in Oakland, which I've always lived in San Francisco and worked in Oakland or in East Bay. I consider myself Bay Coastal. Okay, like San Francisco, Oakland, get it? And so Oakland is it's a fabulous place. It's all the artists have been kind of shoved out of San Francisco because of money, and most of them ended up here. And they're having, it's getting a little tight here now, but there's still an enormous amount of creativity in this town. A lot of stuff going on right now, and I'm really, really, really happy to be part of it. And I'm very excited to do the show here in downtown Oakland. So I've been so fortunate to be involved in so many different things with so many different amazing people. But the thing that I think I'll probably be remembered for better or worse, is Burning Man. Okay, 800-pound gorilla in the room. Great in so many ways and so typical of the world in so many other ways. But that event couldn't have been created anywhere other than the Bay Area. It came out of this incredibly fertile and verdant underground petri dish in San Francisco. I mean, SF Bay Area is where people from all over the country came because they couldn't be where they were. They had to go somewhere else, and they ended up here. And that's why this stuff happened here. And when it comes to, creating events, I mean, when it comes to desert stuff alone, I mean, there's so many other things that happen out in the desert that were part of that scene that weren't Burning Man. I mean, the Desert Siteworks event over here, which actually a lot of the philosophy from that event then influenced later Burning Man. There's the Car Hunt event, which was a major collaboration between the San Francisco underground machine art circles and the Cacophony Society. And if you go earlier, you've got, Billboard Liberation Front, which came out of, the Suicide Club, which came out of the Free University movement, and Communiversity, which was the SF State Free University at the time. So there are thousands of people in this entire, community of this culture, really, in the Bay Area that stuff grew out of. Some of the later things that came out of this whole scene, some of them are resonating to this day. There are just I was so blessed to be part of this, and it was never like one guy, deciding what was going to. That's the Western myth, right? There's the lone guy who comes up with the idea that changes the world, whole Ayn Randian kind of thing. That's just basically usually baloney. I mean, it was always a collaborative effort, and. But I know you're still interested in the whole Burning Man thing, so we'll get into that a little bit later too. So Burning Man kind of became this giant flame with a lot of moths circling around it, and I had to get away from it. And so a lot of the stuff that I've been involved in involves like collaborative pranking. So what we did is my friend Chris Campbell and I put a smiley face in the head of the man as our way to say goodbye for me to say goodbye to the event. And then also the Helco event was kind of my swan song, coming down that cable, like after lighting Helco on fire, the whole conceit being that Helco was this corporation trying to buy Burning Man. So that was how I left the event. I mean, it has to be fun. I mean, if you're not having fun and it's so serious, you know, it's just not, it's not a win for anybody. So pranking was a big part of Cacophony, big part of the Suicide Club before, a big part of early Burning Man, having a sense of humor about what you do, being able to poke fun at yourself. You're just a sadist if you can't take a joke yourself, and believe me, I've had several played on me. Of course, there's always the feminine side, and it's important for we men to try and get in touch with our feminine side. That's another story for later. But all I can say about it is my great good fortune and the people that I've worked with and the stuff I've been able to do. It's like I fell down some crazy rabbit hole when I came to San Francisco, and I'm so blessed to have been able to do this stuff and know these people, and I'm still doing it, and you should be too. So speaking of getting in touch with your feminine side, something that men, you know, need to do, here's another collaborative prank right here that it's a story for another time. Whoa, I heard some dogs off in the distance. Here we are on Treasure Island where I keep the dogs. You know, it's funny, one of the first things that I remember seeing when I first came to San Francisco was a dog head. I got off BART in the Mission and popped out, and up on the street, cacophony and noises, 8 different languages. I'd come from the Midwest, and it was just wild being in a city like this. And walking down the street, and I look up and I see a giant dog head on a stick. And I just remembered it. It's one of those weird things I never forgot about. And years later, they ended up becoming the, you know, kind of like the mascots for the Cacophony Society and for Polka Side, my friend's band, punk polka band, and a lot of other things. They always brought people together. We used them as talismans for events that we were doing, and everybody in the Bay Area recognizes them. And everybody smiles, you know, when you'd go through the neighborhoods with the trailer, driving them, people around their houses going, doggy diner, doggy diner. The cops would stop. They'd pull me over, right? The cops would pull me over and go, hey, you're not taking the dog heads out of the city, are you? Well, we're bringing them back, don't worry. And then years later, I went with Cycle Side, my friends in the bike rodeo. We did a cross-country trip to New York City. We stopped at Mount Rushmore, bringing the icons to the icons, and we ended up in New York City to do a bunch of shows. And we're at CB's Gallery doing our final show. We wrapped up. Somebody told us there was a dachshund festival a few blocks away in Washington Square Park. We went there, and they were like, I don't know, 200 dachshunds. People with their dachshunds. There are dachshunds all over the place. We pull up with these things, and people are flipping out. They're coming over, getting all their pictures taken. They're yelling and cheering. They're little dogs, dachshund dogs with like hot dog suits on them. And the guy who ran the festival came over to me and he goes, hey, wow, you guys are from California, right? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, did you come here for the Dachshund Festival? And I'm like, yeah, that's right. We came here for the Dachshund Festival. I think I made his month. So, I mean, that's what they're about. That's what they're about, bringing people together, about making people smile. This world's messed up, man. Everybody's having a hard time, hard day. They can't pay their rent, wars here and there. And it's like anything that brings that little bit of happiness for even a few seconds, or like make somebody smile or talk to somebody they don't know, right? That's fucking gold. That's really worth doing. And they're a hassle to bring around. It's, you know, it takes a lot of work. You know, we restored them, and that was cool. A lot of people help, but it's a lot of work taking them around, you know, money for gas and everything, but I don't charge money for them. I just take them around because it's I don't know, it makes me feel good, and it makes everybody that sees them feel good.